Fantastic Friends Show.
Orlando, good to see you.
Good to see you too, brother.
Thank you for coming in to the show.
The Sal and his amazing friends?
Sal's Meet My Fantastic Friends.
Fantastic Friends.
Yeah.
I was thinking the Spider-Man cartoon, Sal and his amazing friends. Like, remember that?
I do remember that, but I can't do the...
You can, oh, okay.
I can't. I haven't been bit by that spider yet. But I'm glad you came in because you indeed are one of my friends and 100% fantastic.
Cool. That's nice to hear. That's good.
Yeah. So
hopefully my wife sees this at last.
Well, she'll know. She'll now know the true Orlando. So for everybody watching, thank you for tuning in and watching on the YouTube, whatnot. So Orlando, a little background on Orlando. He's a good-looking guy, number one, okay? Number two, I've known Orlando going on 20 years now, and there's an awesome backstory of how we met and whatnot. But Orlando is an extremely accomplished martial artist for 30 years. He's an author, he's a husband, he's a father, and not in that particular order.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. If your wife's watching. He's a husband, then he's a father.
Yep.
He is a Marine.
I was in Corps, yeah. I was in Marine Corps.
And just an all-around great guy. Musician, too.
Oh.
So.
That one's hard. I like to play music. How's that for now? Like,
you're a musician.
All right, I'm a musician. All right. All right, you say so.
So, let's right off the bat. Martial arts. This is how we know each other.
Yes.
So, many years ago, we were attending a school by an amazingly accomplished fighter. His name was Chris Brennan. And you could tell the story from there.
So I had just got out of the Marine Corps, and I had moved up to the Temecula-Marietta area. My wife was gone. She was in Iraq. She was on her first deployment or the end of her first deployment. And I found Chris, and he was one of the only places here in town at that point. Right? There was maybe Corey Cass maybe had something going on
Fight
too.
Lab, right?
Yeah, but I met up with Chris Brennan and then signed up with him. You, me, Josh Hinger. If you don't know who Josh Hinger is, he's a very accomplished jiu-jitsu martial artist. But we're all white belts. Yep. And we start talking one day. And I'm like, hey, man, where are you from?
Right.
And Sal goes, oh, I'm from Florida. And I say, oh, I'm from Florida. I'm like, where in Florida? And you literally said, you never heard of it, Cape Coral. I was like, what? And we come to find out you graduated high school with my sister.
Yes.
And my best friend, Carlos Vidal.
Yep.
And they knew you. It was crazy. We knew a bunch of the same people.
Right.
So it was crazy because it was in the middle of nowhere, Marietta, California, you know.
Yeah, we moved out here in '99 with my band at the time, you know. And we're like,
with Fred.
With Fred.
Yeah. Who trained with us.
And I think he's a black belt now.
Is he?
I think so.
Oh, that is awesome.
I can't be for sure because he hasn't posted about it.
Right.
But he's been
he's been getting after it.
Yeah. But so we were training there. We moved here. And we're like, where are we?
Yeah.
You know. So I'm really glad I ran into you, and we had some good times at that school. I would.
Yeah,
think,
we beat the crap out of each other back then.
We did. This is before rash guards were a thing.
Oh yeah.
Right? We just sweaty, disgusting.
Well, back
T-shirt.
then, jiu-jitsu, so right now in most jiu-jitsu schools, you come in, you barely ever do any striking, and it's just focused more on the sports jiu-jitsu aspect. Not that school. That school was old school. That school, man, we beat the crap. Like, we were fighting almost every day.
I remember, in fact, I recently told somebody the story, but the first time I ever got knocked out, Josh Hinger kicked me in the head.
What?
So, yeah, Josh Hinger, jiu-jitsu black belt, kicked me in the head.
Well, he wasn't a black belt back then.
No, he's always been just very athletic and a
yes.
talented fighter. You know, he was like a CIF champion.
So did
wrestler,
you just
right?
drop, or did you just how'd it go?
I remember waking up.
You remember what? Wow.
Remember when you choked me out like last year? It was the same thing.
It was.
That's the second time I'd ever been. So what had happened? What had happened was.
What happened was. All right.
We were just, because there was a lot of stand up there too.
Yeah, we did a ton of stand up with Fernando Gonzalez also. Yeah.
Super accomplished too.
Super accomplished as well.
And I was not really used to kickboxing like that.
Me neither.
And I didn't know what to expect. And I fight with my right foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
Josh was standing orthodox, and my left hand was down.
Oh yeah, that's
and
it.
He threw your classic 1-2 head kick.
Oof.
So I ate the first 2 punches, and then all I remember seeing was the leg, and then remember being on the floor.
How much did your face hurt the next day?
It didn't really hurt.
Really?
It didn't hurt. My head hurt where my head hit the floor.
Well,
because I think Josh was wearing
shin pads,
and he caught it like right where on the neck, and it was that perfect thing.
Yeah,
and he hit it right on the So it was. So anyway, so that's where we met.
Well, I got knocked out there too by. Do you remember Buck Greer? Yeah, Buck Greer. He was like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
And but he didn't knock me out in a nice way. It was a gut punch. Have you ever been gut punched so hard that there's no more fighting? That's the end of it. Like
no.
Time to go home. Yeah. Like I'm picking up my stuff and that's the end of that. That's how I got knocked out there too. One of two. The second time I think Adam Lynn kicked me in the head too. So
another great.
I know, dude. What a great school, right?
Man, I've been knocked out by these awesome people. It's my legacy.
I know.
So, and then the other time I was knocked out was with a triangle, which was you.
That's not knocked out. That's going to sleep.
No, I mean it knocked me out mentally.
It definitely not.
I took a hit.
The best part of that
was up.
Tino in the background saying, "Don't tap, bro. Don't tap."
It's true. So before that story, what ends up I stopped training.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chris moved to Lake Forest for a while, and then he moved out to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't seen you, maybe
a while.
6 years at that point.
Was it 6? Wow.
It's probably. I mean, I don't think I started training again until 2010.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm in a parking lot one day, Trader Joe's of Winchester, if you are familiar with that war zone of a parking lot.
Oh my
the day.
God! Seriously?
Yeah, and walking through, and I hear, "Hey, Sal!" What? And it's Orlando, and he's like, "Hey, man, are you still training? I haven't seen you." I'm like, "No, man. Like, I don't know of any places and whatever." And he's like, "Hey, I'm managing Carlson Gracie's out in Murrieta down the street. You should come by." And I've been there ever since.
Yeah, you got there as a blue belt or a white belt?
I was a white belt.
So you're a brown belt now.
Brown
wow,
belt
that's
now.
great.
So I was a white belt. I mean, super great people there. Never felt a reason to leave.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's family.
Yeah.
At one point, it becomes like family, and they know what you need to work on, how to get better.
Yeah, there's just great guys. Everybody there is completely different as far as their instructing, So so Tom and Tino,
mm-hmm.
and you were there,
mm-hmm.
And they were doing you survive and get out of the triangle, and you finish the triangle. So I got in your triangle, and all I kept hearing was Tino, "Don't tap, bro, don't tap," Next thing I know, I'm like this, and I thought I was rubbing my head, but I guess it was the blood rushing back to my brain, listening to a Rage Against the Machine song that was on the thing, and you guys were all like...
The best, it was me, Tino, and Tom.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was extremely embarrassed, but it was fun.
But it was a good time.
It was. So, so congratulations on your school, by the way. So I've seen you go from blue belt to owning your school.
Yep.
And congratulations.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's coming along. Because of the pandemic and COVID, it's been a bit difficult, but we're getting through it.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else. We're trying to survive.
How so you teach and your wife teaches.
I am the main instructor.
Right.
And so, for instance, tonight is one of the few nights that Amy is teaching because I'm not there.
Right. Where are you?
Well, right here.
Yeah.
Right here. With
Right
you.
on. Yeah.
So, but she is, I basically teach every class.
Right.
I have brown belts that I allow, that I have teach every once in a while. But in general, it's just me. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to do.
You're good at it.
I enjoy teaching kids, actually, I think a bit more than adults.
Mm-hmm.
Because your return on investment is so much bigger.
Why is that?
Well, with kids, you have kids that'll come in, they're either, they've never been athletic, or they're being bullied. Some of them have autism, some of them have ADHD, or some of them just are just finding something to do,
Right.
And you give them this opportunity to fight, to do jujitsu in a controlled environment, and they flourish. And you see kids that, especially the ones that didn't have any confidence and have been bullied, like you see them change within 2 to 3 months. All of a sudden, man, they're realizing, I don't have to be scared. I don't have to be weak. I can be strong.
Right.
And jiu-jitsu gives you that pathway to do that. Because getting strong, especially when you're a kid, that's hard. How do you get strong when you're 9,
Right.
10? What do? You can't start lifting weights.
Right.
And although I love boxing and kickboxing, that's hard on the body. And being 9 or 10 years old taking shots to the head is probably not great.
Right.
Whereas jiu-jitsu is basically just straight up grappling every day. You get to go at 100% with your full body, and then you come back the next day and do it again.
Right.
And it gives kids an opportunity to understand how to use their body, because they're so young, they don't really know how to make things, how their body works yet. Like my son is 12. He's officially now taller than me.
Wow.
He is bumping into everything.
Right.
He's everything. He's like, just last night, me and my wife were just laughing at him because he doesn't know how to use his body yet.
Right.
But jiu-jitsu helps.
Right.
Helps them learn how to use their body.
I would venture to say, even though when there's a lot of bullying happening.
Yeah.
Right. When you're a kid growing up, I got bullied. I'm sure.
You know what though? It's better now.
Yeah.
It's at least in this town, in the inland, in the valley, I guess it would be a bit better. It's still pretty bad, but I feel like it's gotten better.
Well, that's good. So, like, my question to you, because you do this it's your livelihood,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's a passion.
Mm-hmm.
Not just teaching, but seeing people develop and giving them skills to better themselves in life. So, would you say, even though physical bullying isn't as prominent,
Right.
in this area,
Right.
at least, doing jujitsu or martial arts in general
Mm-hmm.
gives the kid mental strength.
Yes. Actually, I'm glad you said that. You actually made that much more clear. You're right. The physical bullying that maybe you and I saw when we were growing up isn't as prevalent, but
Right.
the emotional bullying is much worse
Right.
because of social media.
Right.
And honestly, although I believe jiu-jitsu will make kids mentally stronger,
Right.
I think the best thing for kids to do if they're being emotionally manipulated or bullied via social media is put your phone down.
Get off social media.
Get off social media, unplug from that, because
Right.
you don't need that nastiness in your life, especially at such a young age. It's so impressionable.
Right.
We have kids, and this is experiences that I'm seeing, is kids are starting to not like themselves. And these are good kids. These are
Right.
good kids, good jiu-jitsu fighters, but because of social media, they are finding fault within themselves,
Right.
whether, a female feeling that a girl, a young lady seeing Instagram models,
Right.
or and that's that level to think, oh, I'm not like that. So it's almost like when we were kids, a lot of girls got really skinny because back then Cosmopolitan was promoting,
And they were photoshopping all that.
right, they were photoshopping
Yeah.
these skinny women,
Right.
and some of them were very skinny, but it was making a problem with bulimia, and anorexia. And I think at this point, it's maybe not bulimia and anorexia, but there is this idea that you have to be like this or look like this.
Right.
And then with men and with young boys, I see the problem in that. Well, that's a different problem altogether. It's not like the females.
Right.
In general, I think with boys it takes away too much of their concentration off of things that are important.
Right.
So it shortens their attention span.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
It does, and you bring something up that I try to consider all the time, and I think about it. So your opinion's great. It seems like girls, especially high school, when I was growing up, they tend to be more aggressive towards each other, as if they're fighting for attention, right?
Do you mean catty?
Catty. It's almost like they're fighting for the attention of the male, right?
Oh yeah,
and then the male, I mean, I speak from experience.
Mm-hmm.
The self-esteem issue comes from being able to show that they're powerful, not powerful like not powerful like a ruler, but powerful like they have some sort of confidence, and they could see themselves being a provider, to be wanted. Right.
Well, the older I get, the more I realize how important it is to have a father.
Mm-hmm.
And what I am seeing is there's kids that don't have any father figure in their life.
Right.
And this is for young men or for boys. And because of that, sometimes, one, they don't grow with any confidence because they don't have a positive male role model. Or they're growing with too much confidence that's misplaced. They don't realize or being a bully is not how you should be confident. That's not how confidence works.
Right.
Being aggressive to others make them feel smaller, and that's misplaced confidence because, once again, or maybe the role model they do have at home isn't the best role model.
Right.
Which is the beauty of jiu-jitsu. The beauty of jiu-jitsu is also with these kids, because I have bullies that signed up. I have a few bullies, and they're some of my favorite students.
Why is that?
Because I beat the bully out of them. That's why. There's they can't run away from it.
Right.
I'll grab them and be like, "You are not special.
Right.
In this class, you are not special. I will get that little skinny girl over there to beat you up, whether you like it or not, and you will learn where your place is." And it humbles them.
Right.
It humbles them. It teaches them how to also interact with other kids, and also lets them realize, man, I don't have to be a bully.
Right.
I don't have to be a bully. I can be confident in what I know that I can do.
Right.
And let me tell you, man, those kids that are bullies that have signed up with me and I've had them for over a year, the best kids.
Right.
They just needed somebody to get on them. Hey, we got to do this. Hey, we got to do that. Let's go for harder, faster, stronger. Let's go. You can do this. And it pushes them, and it makes them. And these kids already have aggression in them. They already have this energy in them that they want to put out. All right, let's use that, but let's use it and let's push it in a way that's constructive.
Right.
So that's what I've seen with bullies that have signed up with me, and they've been humbled, which is great. But that's the thing that I think I see with younger men or boys is no confidence or misplaced confidence.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Right? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But that's why I like doing my job, because it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid. When I say I'm a kid, I was like 19, and I worked at.
You're a kid.
Oh yeah, you were a kid.
It's a kid.
I was 18, 19. I was working like at Foot Action, like it's Foot Action, like a Foot Locker.
Right.
And I was in the back, and I was my job was to. I was a warehouse manager, so I'm putting all these shoes away, and I remember thinking to myself, "This sucks," because there's no. You're not changing anybody. You're not doing anything for the world. You're not. Which is okay, because when you're 18 or 19, you got to take those crappy jobs. There's nothing you can do about that. Yeah. But even back then, I would think to myself, man, I know for a fact this is not what I want to do for my life. And now I'm in a position where I affect people's lives.
Absolutely.
You know, and although I talked about the kids and I enjoy teaching kids, teaching adults, man, you know, I have guys that have lost hundreds of pounds. Hundreds. Have you seen Tony Perez? Dude.
I've seen Tony Perez.
Did you see his change?
I've seen his change. And
Jeez,
let me
what
tell you.
a beast, right? Like, to see that change
Right.
because of jiu-jitsu.
And he's really good at jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah, and he's
You know.
yeah, and he's really good at jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
So,
But you think people like that who like, jiu-jitsu gives you a reason to be healthy.
right.
If that's one of the best ways I can explain it.
Dude, it does. You know, I went to the doctor this morning,
Okay.
right? Because I'm 41 now,
They
right?
did that.
They didn't.
No?
They didn't say hello.
Not yet.
No. But I went in because I'm like, you know, I feel out of shape. I mean, I still train, you know,
Right.
but I feel out of shape. I know when I had a cookie or two at night.
Yeah,
you know?
dude.
But more importantly, I'm like fatigued during the day.
You need
know?
magnesium.
Well, you know what? I'm doing a blood panel,
Okay.
right? Because I asked about, am I lacking something? Is it testosterone? You know, I'm
Right.
going through everything.
Right. You testosterone. You're looking pretty good, man. I don't know
Thank
about that. Look at you.
Well, what? Thanks,
Look at
bro.
that.
Thank you. Yeah, all right. You slip him a 20
Checks
later.
in the mail.
Ha-ha. Right. But what he said to me, he's like, okay, he's a super cool guy. You know,
Right.
Dr. Combs into makeup. He says, okay, man, well, you're 41. You look like you're in shape. You work out.
Mhm.
You know, your hair's thinning a little bit.
Thanks, Doc.
No. I appreciate it because he says, you know, because I told him, am I lacking testosterone? He says, if you lacked testosterone,
Oops, sorry.
you probably would still have a full head of hair.
Oh, yeah, that's
Right?
true, huh?
If you have a normal rate of testosterone for your age,
Mhm.
it starts falling out.
Right.
So anyway, he says, do you snore? I said, I do. My wife actually beats me at night because I snore. He says,
I'm going to jump in there real quick.
yeah.
One time I was snoring too much. My wife actually grabbed my nose
right.
and made me stop breathing. To this day, I still hold it against her. To this day.
You mean she makes you hold your breath when she sees you or you see her?
No, when I was snoring, she just...
No.
But continue.
So what he said, he said it sounds like apnea, sleep apnea.
Okay.
I was like, what? Really? He said, yeah. He says lack of oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and your brain goes into this place where it doesn't have enough oxygen
Okay.
in your system to push through for the day.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, so he's going to send me like a thing, you know, to sleep.
So, what is that called? A pop?
I don't know.
Something like that. Anyway.
40-year-old stuff.
So I'm gonna. One of the things that I just started taking, and some of my other students have started taking, is magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
And man, if there's one thing that I highly recommend for anybody, especially for men, athletic men, people that get in it, because the problem is because we're older, we work out, we lose minerals faster than when we were younger.
Okay.
We don't bounce back as quickly.
Right.
And magnesium is one of those minerals that we lose quickly. And with it, I highly recommend if you take it, you can get it in powder form. You can take pills. Just don't buy magnesium citrate. Magnesium citrate's for pooping, so don't get that one. But magnesium.
I mean, I don't know about you, but that's one of the best parts of the day.
Yeah, no, that's get a little me time. But magnesium glycinate is what I'm taking, and it's made a huge difference with my sleeping.
Okay.
It's easier to sleep with, and I've been lifting a lot, so it helps me recover faster from doing that as well.
I'll try that.
Big.
I'll try that. I may be lacking it anyway because I have to get my blood panel
Right.
back. But so I wanted to ask you too. So aside from jiu-jitsu,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope you are cool with me talking about martial arts a lot because
Yeah.
anytime I try to talk about it with anybody else, they're like, you're nuts.
Right,
So-
right. No, that's
So anyway, you've done jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing, but also have a background in Aikido and JKD as well.
Yes.
Okay.
And Japanese jiu-jitsu.
So do you? I know Aikido especially. You know, a lot of, you know, modern, you know, keyboard warriors will negatively, you know, but one of the most profound philosophies behind Aikido, right? So why don't you talk? What is that about?
For Aikido,
Yeah.
the big thing about Aikido is Morihei Wasabi, who made it. I think I may have said his last name wrong, but I believe that's how it's pronounced. He was a master in jiu-jitsu. He was a master in a few different forms of jiu-jitsu. Japanese jiu-jitsu back then was very similar to Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That's the other thing that people don't realize.
Right.
That's why when, was it Kimura? Not Kimura. Maeda
Maeda,
moved to
Got
Brazil
Maeda.
and taught the Gracies his form of judo. It wasn't really judo. It was also a lot of jiu-jitsu because Maeda also had rank in jiu-jitsu. But what Morihei Wasabi did was he condensed it to more about, instead of, by all means, you can break limbs with Aikido, but it was more of a Budo than a Bujitsu. So Budo is more of the way, where Jiu-Jitsu is more, a Jitsu is more of a hard fight.
Right.
And that's the big deal with Aikido. It's not meant to be a full self-defense martial art, in my opinion.
Right.
It is meant to make you grow as for yourself. And
Right.
by all means, you can use the concepts of Aikido to help you fight. But if you were going to do that, I would probably take an approach, incredibly, I can't believe I'm saying this, like Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal does Aikijitsu. So it's a much more, for instance, there's striking in Aikijitsu.
Right.
There is no striking in Aikido whatsoever, which you know, and I know that you do need striking.
Right.
You need it. You need to have that. So if you're looking at Aikido and you want to use it for self-defense purposes, you're probably not going to get a lot out of that. What you are going to get a lot out of it is a form of exercise, and being able to understand balance better. That's a very big one with Aikido, learning how to balance yourself better. But Aikijitsu would probably be more appropriate, and even then, Aikijitsu only works to a degree until the guy grabs you.
Right.
And then when the guy grabs you and he can put you on the ground, that's different, because Aikijitsu doesn't really give information about. Doesn't look at that.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm learning. That's why I asked.
Right.
You know. So.
Right.
Very cool.
But out of all the martial arts that I've done, I like stick fighting. You and I both like stick fighting.
Love stick fighting.
I think stick fighting is incredibly important. I think stick knife fighting is incredibly important, because people don't realize how powerful a knife is.
Right.
If you know how to knife fight and you have a good sized knife or a good strong knife, man, you can cut a path.
You know, I remember seeing a video of Dan Inosanto.
Yeah.
Right? And it was an old video. It's probably from the 70s or 80s,
Mhm.
whenever it was. And it was this controlled environment, right? And it was Dan Inosanto sitting in a seat. Okay? You could look it up on YouTube. Sitting in a seat with an officer training, not knowing what's going to happen.
So real quick, Dan Inosanto is one of Bruce Lee's former students.
Right. Top student, right?
It's one of his top
Yeah.
students, if not his top student.
Yeah. Had the nunchucks and
Yeah.
what was it, Way the Dragon or
The Game of Death.
Game of Death,
Yeah.
right. So Dan Inosanto was sitting there just reading a paper, whatever, and this officer comes up, doesn't know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
You know, he knows it's a situation.
Mhm.
From 21 feet away, Dan Inosanto was able to pull out his knife and stab the police officer before he was even able to get the gun.
Oh, yeah.
out. 21 feet.
Yes. So a video just came out maybe 2 weeks ago, and it's this poor officer yelling at this guy to stop, and this guy has a knife, and he's lunging at this officer, and you can hear the fear and the wanting not to kill this person.
Right.
And he unloads on this guy 3 or 4 times. The guy gets back up, and there's another officer maybe 14 feet away. This guy got shot, gets up, runs, grabs the other officer behind the neck. Somehow, and then the cop with the gun, with amazing accuracy, shoots the guy. while he's holding his partner.
Oh my gosh.
And this guy has a knife. This guy got shot, gets up, and almost kills somebody else with a knife. And the reason I'd like to talk about knife fighting is I was in the Marine Corps, and I got to work. I never got to work at the tactical level of intelligence, which means you're out with the grunts, which I kind of wish I had. That would have been fun. But instead, I was always working at the highest echelon. So you're always dealing with top secret. You're dealing with, you're basically working with colonels and generals, and I'm just this lonely little sergeant, you know. But I did a lot of work, and it was fun. But one of the things you get to see is you get to meet a lot of special operations guys.
Right.
And I remember talking to one of them, and they told me that they get sent to a knife fighting school for their special operations training. And one of the things I was like, so was it like Arnis or Screama? He's like, no. He's like, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of that, but in general, the big thing is gross motor movement.
Right.
Gross motor movement. So it's not accuracy like in Arnis, you're looking to stab and turn around, break a hand, take the weapon out of it. He's like, no. The big thing was we were taught was how to use a knife and use it violently. Running through people, stabbing them correctly, how to stab correctly to open somebody's stomach up so their guts come out quickly, or cutting across the forehead so blood goes into people's eyes. If you can't, because people will, you nudge somebody towards their heart or towards their soft area, their hands come out.
Right.
Nobody thinks about stopping a knife coming to your forehead.
Right.
And it goes so quickly. And that happens. You have blood in your eyes. You better run because you're gonna die.
There's the terms I retained were red line, blue line.
Red line, blue line.
Right?
Okay.
So blue line being guts.
Right.
Red line being
neck.
You bleed out.
Yeah.
But dude, there was something I went over when I was younger, but. It was called SASG, which
from
is
Special Air Service.
It was I don't know if it was special or secret, whatever it was. Action Service Group. So basically, what it was knife techniques from Taiwan for their secret service group or whatever, and it was literally all about how to cut to end now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly how they train.
Yeah.
They're not looking to do something fancy.
Right.
And that's the beauty with a knife. If you have a good knife and you know how to just move it quickly in the right direction, man, and when I mean, there is the Marine Corps, and along with all the other branches of the military, when there's always an after action report.
Right.
So there is a book, and I almost I got to buy this one day. There's a book that talks about hand-to-hand combat, after action reports, and they talk about some of the things that have been most effective in combat, where people run out of bullets, or you don't have a gun anymore, but they have a gun, and you can only fight with what you can find on hand, and it gives detailed description about what does work and what hasn't worked. People are using what are called e-tools, which is like a shovel. They give you shovels, so if you need to dig a hole. But people, they'll learn how to use their e-tools or use stuff like that to fight. But something sharp and long, that's one of the things. If you have a knife, if you have a good knife that's longish, you can do a lot of damage. It's very scary how much damage. That's why I teach knife fighting at my school. Not knife fight, I'm sorry. I teach knife defense.
Right.
And I have 2 rules. The number 1 rule for knife fighting is this, or knife defense is this. If somebody pulls out a knife, run away.
Yeah.
Run away.
Absolutely.
The second rule, if you cannot run away, be prepared to bleed.
Yeah.
You're going to get cut. You have to get it in your head, okay, I'm going to get cut. So that when the blood starts flying, you don't freak out. You have to keep calm. You have to realize, okay, these are the things that are going to happen, and try to fight off that problem as best as you can.
Right.
But knife is scary.
The Yeah, the thing about, did you remember seeing that video? I think it was a couple years ago. It was a guy that got stabbed on the street.
Okay.
And he didn't realize he got stabbed.
And then he takes like 2 steps and dies.
And then he falls over and bleeds out.
That was in England.
Yeah, it's
that was
just
in England.
Knives.
And it was instant.
Instant. The guy just pulled it out, pop, and left and ran.
And ran.
And it goes in like butter. It's not a game.
No.
You know?
No.
And the thing I love about stick fighting and knife fighting, one, a stick or something like a stick
is available.
Is available.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you have to grab something.
If you got to grab something, yeah.
Stick, rock, and anything, right?
Right.
But yeah, knife.
Rock. Dude, so that's the thing. Like a lot of people don't realize how dangerous a rock is. Like I'll hear people complain, "Oh, they're just throwing rocks at the cops."
Right.
You realize that'll kill you. Like that.
They stone people to death with rocks.
With rocks. Yeah.
Dude,
you can really hurt somebody with rocks. Like, you know what it is?
Hold on. Before we go on.
Yeah.
I love talking about this topic, not to inspire people to go out and use this information for bad.
Yeah.
I like talking about it to let people know there are bad people out there.
Yes.
And the realities of having to defend yourself.
Right. You know what? The reason I think we need to talk about this is people don't realize how violent violence is.
Yeah.
There's people that are advocating, that attack cops or whatever the case may be. If that goes on for so long, the repercussion from that of violence is severe because they're armed, they know how to use their weapons. And I don't think there is a big disconnect with people that don't realize how hurt you can get.
It's
forever. Like for the rest of your life, you will be hurt.
This is why, as far as willpower, right? Willpower with getting hurt. Those 2 officers that were shot in the car not too long ago, that woman who shot in the jaw got up and helped her partner.
Right. Well, keep in mind, that's also not only... People also think... Remember when we used to watch the A-Team and Mr. T would punch somebody and they would get knocked down?
I pity the fool.
But that doesn't work. Like,
No.
that's very rare.
Right.
You square punch somebody in the face and they go out. That's not how it works.
No.
That lady got shot in the jaw and still got back up.
Yeah.
Like, to be violent, to kill people and hurt them, it takes a lot. And that is a disconnect that people don't realize, because even if people start getting even close to that, man, you're going to walk away with traumatic brain injuries, lost limbs, loss of eyes. Like, violence is violent.
It's not a game, and it always goes back to that, I don't know who said it, but everybody likes to box until they get punched in the face.
That was Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's like, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
Right.
Man, have you been getting punched in the face sucks.
I've gotten punched in the face, and I do not like getting punched in the face.
I don't know if you know this. So after Chris Brennan closed, I didn't train for 1 year, and I used to work at T-Mobile in the mall.
I remember.
And lo and behold, one day, Dan Henderson walks in. Dan Henderson, like during the Pride days.
Right.
And I'm one of the few people that reckon, I'm like, Dan Henderson. I'm like, that's frick, what the heck? So I started talking to him. He's like, I'm opening a school here. So I trained at Team Quest like for 2.5 years, maybe 3.
Arguably one of the strongest jaws.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. He is, Dan Henderson is one of the strongest human beings I have ever met in my life.
No.
Like, and I've met a lot of strong people. A lot of strong people, and Dan Henderson is easily in the top 5 per capita. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I've met power lifters, but what I'm saying is this regular size man what he has inside, like what he can do, is extraordinary.
Right.
But training at Team Quest, do you know how much I got punched in the face?
I believe it.
Oh my! It was like
I believe it.
Pinned a fist on Orlando's face. That's basically what I went through to go. Like, and I learned a lot. I learned how to. The big thing that I walked away from was Muay Thai, kickboxing. We did a lot of kickboxing there. I never got very proficient at it, but it was more than enough to at least teach me the basics.
And to know you don't want to get punched in the face.
No, and to know not to. That's why I never did it. I never went into MMA.
Yeah.
Because MMA training, if people don't realize, like those guys, like MMA training is ridiculously difficult.
People, they don't understand. People that don't train do not understand.
Continue, but I want to bring something up.
Okay.
Continue.
Do not and I know I'm not saying people that don't train jiu-jitsu, people that don't train taekwondo, people that don't train for an MMA fight properly.
Right. You're gonna get wrecked.
It's not only we know techniques, their conditioning is what it's on another level.
It's on another level. It's on another level.
It is.
Fernando Gonzalez. So this is I was sparring with him one day at Team Quest, and I'm trying my best not to get destroyed here. All right. So I'm like, I know what I'll do. I'm gonna jump in the air. I'm gonna Superman punch this dude in the face. I jumped in the air and I flush punched him in the face. Plop. And this is exactly what Fernando did. He went, "That was good," and he kept walking like nothing happened. Like nothing happened to him. And I was like, that was everything I got. Then he just proceeded to just wipe the mat with me, just kicking me all over the place. But he was always nice about it. But that is the kind of level of fighter that you're dealing with, that you can hit that dude as hard as you want and they're just like, I'm good.
Yeah, dude, recently we've had, from the Carlson Gracie team, Roosevelt Roberts and Jalen Turner. And rolling with them, I mean, I haven't rolled with them in about 6 months or so. But
right.
When they're just
cruising.
They're cruising.
Yeah.
But even if they turn it on a little bit, because this is what they do every day, twice a day, at the highest level.
Yes. That's like I play a little guitar.
Right.
Right? I can play some chords, and then you pick up a guitar and you can play guitar. You see the difference? Like there's a big
and then
chasm.
Hunter
picks
up a guitar.
And then Hunter picks up a guitar, and that chasm. Oh, so I wanted to share this with you.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of new guys show up to the school to come try it out.
Yeah.
Are we good on time?
I got 6 minutes.
6 minutes, perfect. This is easy. So I have new people coming in trying out jiu-jitsu, and these are in shape people.
Yeah.
And they just catch an ass whooping.
Yeah.
Just a butt kicking. And later after class, I'm sitting and talking with them, and they were like, I didn't expect this. He's like, I had one of them tell me, I didn't think I was going to be a natural, but I didn't realize I was just going to get just beat up. Like there's nothing you can do.
Right.
And these are in shape guys. Mm-hmm. Usually so what I do is, depending on who the person is, my final test to see if they'll actually stay in jiu-jitsu, which a lot of them don't. When I do this test to them, which is I feed Amy. I feed them to Amy, my wife.
Right.
So it's gi jiu-jitsu, and these are in shape guys. They're strong. They're men.
Right.
And I feed them to my wife. And if she's going to tap them out.
Right.
She's going to tap them out. And she taps them out. And then if they don't come back the next day, they'll never come back.
They're too hurt.
They're too hurt.
Here.
Yeah. They don't realize, but then the guys who will come back end up sometimes becoming one of the best students, because they're like, this tiny woman just beat me up. And there's nothing I could do about it. So I'm going to come back because apparently whatever's working is working here.
Let me ask you this, as a practitioner, right?
Yeah.
Not as a teacher, as the student, right? Every martial arts student I don't care who you are, at one point is intimidated by another student.
Oh, yeah.
right? I find oddly in my journey,
Mm-hmm.
the most intimidated students that are like peers, you know, not higher belts, right? Not more, but same level, but intimidating for whatever reason. Rubs you the wrong way, feels like, okay, something about that person, like I'm a little, end up becoming the best partners.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. So I have a purple belt.
Right.
Josue, you've met him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's tapped out a couple of black belts already. He's a purple belt. And he's 190 pounds. He's 25 or 26. Former wrestler. And man, this kid's a beast.
Right.
He's a beast. But he is one of my best training partners because he pushes my 44-year-old ass. 44-year-old ass to have to get better.
Right.
Like I have to watch what I'm doing. I have to, and it's not just him. It's all of my students.
Right.
You know, I have some really tough dudes, some really tough guys. So I have to lift weights. I have to watch what I eat. I have to constantly be doing jujitsu.
So it's got to be a good. First of all, your attitude towards owning a school, can't be obviously.
You can't tap me out, bro.
Yeah.
No.
You can't beat every. You can't go in thinking you could beat every student that walks in.
No.
And that's what makes you a good teacher.
It's. I think one of the best ways I ever heard it explained is having a jiu-jitsu school is like growing a den of vipers.
Okay.
If I am going to raise a den of vipers, at one point I should expect to get bit.
That's legit.
Yeah.
That's legit.
That's legit.
Listen, I hate to have to cut this short.
No. This is fine. This was great.
That was okay. So what we covered, martial arts.
Martial arts.
Okay.
That was just martial arts.
Yeah. So let's bring you back.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about music with you.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your book.
Yeah, we can talk about actually, I was like, maybe we'll just talk about marriage.
You know, Orlando is probably one of the best guys to talk about relationships. Not if you're having a problem in a relationship. That's not why you talk about it. Just because, hey, man, how could I better my relationship with my wife or
yeah, because I've done everything wrong.
Yeah,
I've done it all wrong. So I know. Oh yeah, no, don't do that, bro.
You know what? I heard a song, and today, and I forgot the artist. I'll have to send it to you. But the song is called "The Cycle," and
that's from the book.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
The lyrics in the song were, "You're gonna make mistakes." I'm paraphrasing. You're going to make mistakes, and if you don't learn from them, the devil will.
Oh yeah. And that's a cycle.
And he'll keep
you in that. We can't do that.
We can't do it. Okay, listen.
That's a whole thing.
So listen. And also, aliens.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, I'm ready.
Okay, because I have plenty of
that should be fun.
And there's a whole story on like...
That's a good story.
All right, so, dude, thank you so much. You are a fantastic friend.
Yeah, man.
I hope all this recorded on my phone. Otherwise, it was just a great talk.
It was a great talk. Cool.
Under some lights and through some microphones.
All right, man. Awesome.
All right, dude.
Thanks, man.
Later, brother.
Later. Are you going to put these right here? Wait, were you kidding?
So, meet my fantastic friend show. Sal's Meet My Fantastic Friend show.